episode 3 of the Bronchelor, and what a roller coaster this has been. Not only did Bronson have to let 4 women go, leaving 11 remaining women, but he had this week 2 group dates and 2 one-on-ones. And I think as time's been going on, it's been tougher and tougher for Bronson because he's been establishing various relationships. This week's gonna be hard because he has to let 4 more women go. And I gotta tell you, if you know Bronson like I know Bronson, that's not gonna be easy for him. So we're just gonna have to wait and see what happens this week, where he has these additional group dates and these one-on-ones as he gets closer to making the final decision of who is gonna end up being the girl that Bronson chooses for the Bronchelor.
Hey.
Hey, what's up?
Not much, just, hanging.
Are you still doing like virtual classes and stuff?
Yeah, we have like hybrid, so most kids still aren't coming in at all. So we teach like 4 kids in person at a time and everyone else online. It's like sad, it really is.
Yeah, I would imagine that's like hard on both like you as a teacher and the kids. Like I'm sure that's horrible for kids.
100%. I feel so bad for them, and I like have to give them so much leeway because I'm like, if I was 12 years old and I was learning from home for over a year, like there's no way I'd be doing my stuff either, like
I feel like there are going to be like long lasting consequences from that, like 100%. For decades. Like there's going to be a generation of adults that like are not as set up for success as the rest of us because they had like a year and a half of distance learning.
I mean, I feel like our generation gets shit on enough with like communication versus like them. It's going to be even worse. Like all they had was like TikTok.
Yeah, for real. So what age do you teach?
7th grade.
Okay. So that's like what, 13, 14?
Yeah, 12, 13. Mm-hmm.
I feel like that's the hardest age out of all of them.
It's definitely tough. Everyone that I tell is always like, you're crazy. Like, why would you do that? But I like it because they're young enough that you can kind of like not baby them a little bit, but like you can be a little corny and they'll think you're like the funniest person in the planet. And then they're also like old enough that you can kind of like mess around with them a little bit. Like they're like a very transitional age, I guess.
Yeah. And I guess like they're old enough where you can actually teach them things and have like conversations about subjects rather than just like, like they're not kids.
Right. Like some of them actually ask good questions. And I'm like, wow, that's like kind of impressive. I don't think I was asking that at 12. But
I feel like at 12, like they're such punks. Like they just.
Oh, yeah. The things that some of these kids say, like, I don't even want to repeat them, but they're like kind of crazy.
And so why did you want to become a teacher? Is that just something you always were interested in?
I always wanted to be a teacher. Like, even when I was younger, I would try and teach like my little brother how to read, which, long-term probably messed him up more because I didn't know what I was doing. But I just always wanted to. And then I had like a mini freak out after I graduated and was just like, did I ever really think about what I wanted to do? Like, like it was just always, I was going to be a teacher. And then like all my friends started getting these cool jobs and like moving to new cities. So I was just like, I don't know, I had to like refocus a little bit, but it is what I wanted to do. And now I'm so glad that I'm doing it. So
I kind of went through something similar where I like just always, when I was a kid, I like always wanted to make movies and I was always doing that. And then it was just like, and then I remember like graduating from college and actually like getting my first job in the industry and working. And I was like, is this what I actually want to do? Or is this just like what I think I should be doing because it's like what I've always done?
Yeah, like you say it for so long, like people almost expect it. And then you're like, wait, is this real? But you do like it though now?
I do like it a lot. It's like something that I enjoy doing. I like my skills like fit well with it as well. So I feel like that's another thing. Like as you grow up, you realize that like your job like doesn't need to be like the dream thing that you wake up every day and you're like, this is the best thing ever. But it's just like, you have to know what you're good at and then find something that like will pay you to do what you're good at.
Yeah, 100%.
But if I were to choose anything else, I would be a teacher or work in education 100%. Yeah, that's like always been on the back burner and always something that I've wanted to do. And just, I've always told myself like, I'll do it when I'm like 50.
That like happens a lot. I feel like some of my favorite teachers are people who had like careers before that, because they just have so much more like, I don't know, experience. And it's not just like, I don't know, have a new take on it, I guess. Are you like super religious or not really?
I'm not religious at all. Are you religious?
Kind of, but like, I'm not like, I don't know, like I go to church with my parents every Sunday, but and it's always been like a big part of my life, but I'm not so like into like every single custom. Like that stuff doesn't really like matter to me. To me, it's more about just like the faith and like because it drives your values. Like I feel like, I don't know, like having something bigger than yourself or bigger than like what you see every day to believe in is just like kind of a way to comfort yourself. Like if something
Totally.
goes wrong, like you're like, you can say like, okay, it's going to get better. Like I have trust that like, you know, this is part of the plan, whatever, all that stuff. Like even for this, for example, like I, like the past year and a half, I guess, which like partially probably due to COVID, I was like, I just felt very like stagnant. I'm a big believer too, like if you pray for strength, then you're going to be presented with an opportunity to show strength. You're not just going to be given strength. Like if you pray for, I don't know, peace, you're going to be given an opportunity to make peace. So I was like, okay, I'm praying for new opportunities. When something comes along, like I'm just going to take it because that's what I was asking for. So you might as well. So that's actually why I'm here. But
Wow. Okay.
I saw the DM and I was like, well, shit, if that's not a new opportunity, I don't know what is.
There you go.
But,
yeah. I mean, it's even just crazy to me that like people even like listen to the podcast, let alone the whole Bronchelor.
yeah, I feel like this happened like so quickly for you guys, right?
Yeah, 6 months ago we didn't have a podcast at all, and then now it's like people from all over the country listen.
That's wild. That's so cool though. And that you got to do it with your dad. I feel like that's like such a bonding experience.
Yeah, it's been great it's been really fun. It's been great for us. It just, yeah, it like doesn't make sense. Like I would never, 6 months ago, if you told me like, yeah, in 6 months you're gonna have a podcast that like you're planning on quitting your job to devote full time to, and it's with your dad, and you also have a dating show where there are women who are like coming on to date you virtually, and like thousands of people across America are like invested in it. I would be like, you need to go to like a psychiatric ward, like something's wrong with you.
It's gonna be okay. You just need a doctor.
Yeah.
No, that is so insane. And that's like, I feel like people can ask you like, oh, like where do you see yourself in 5 years? And like it's just the most ridiculous question because something like that could happen and it's like completely far off from what you would think.
Yeah, it's so weird how like things just happen and you just don't know, and
yeah,
and how much things can change. Yeah.
And it's like coming back to like the whole opportunities thing. I feel like everything in life that I was like a little bit scared to do, like those have always ended up being the things that like I'm most grateful that I did them, you know, like
Totally.
Like I went to school in South Carolina, didn't know basically anybody that was going to be there. And then it like, I found like my absolute like best friends in the whole world. And like, I was scared, but I did it and it worked out. And, you know.
Yeah. Well, because you're doing something exciting and like novel. If you just like stay in your safe, small little bubble, it's like everything's going to be stagnant your whole life because it's just what you're used to. But if you push yourself out into new opportunities and experiences, like that's what makes your life exciting and different.
Yeah, absolutely. The comfort zone is not where you want to live.
No.
I read this book once called Settle for More. You have to like find your own interests and figure out what you're in, like what you like to do and like what matters to you. And then you yourself become a more interesting person. And then like you like have all this energy around you that people like want to be around. And then like that's when you fall into everything that's kind of meant for you, I guess. But
yeah,
it was
no, that's totally true. It's like what's like the corny saying they say that like you have to love yourself before you can love others or whatever. But like that's the same. It's like it makes sense.
Yeah, it does.
Because if you like are the best version of you that you can be, you're going to attract like better people.
Yeah, for sure.
Don't you want like your partner in life to be like the best person that you can find? Like that's obviously the goal.
I would hope.
Yeah, I would hope that that's what you would seek out.
I don't want to hate my future husband. That would suck.
That would suck. Yeah. But people do all the time.
I know. It's just scary. Like,
People
I feel
settle.
like sometimes I think, what? They
Yeah, I was
settle?
just saying people settle for like what's easy.
Yeah, I know. It's like sad. Like, I feel like sometimes you see couples that are really young, like get married and do all these things, and like it's just so clear that they like are doing it because they feel like they're supposed to. But then there's young couples that you see and you're like, oh my God, like they're so lucky they found their person like that early. Like
Right.
it definitely happens, but
Oh, it definitely happens.
Yeah.
But I feel like a lot of people will just like settle for what's easy, or just like they found something they think is like what they should have
yeah.
instead of like what they want. Like they think it's like what they need, and so they'll just settle for that.
Or like it feels safe, so you're just gonna stick with it.
Right. Like that's kind of, I mean, that's what was my past relationship, my latest one. We were together for 2 years. She was older than me, and she was like fully, even after like 8 months into the relationship, she was like ready to get married, ready to have kids, like fully committed, like,
Wow.
and I wasn't.
Yeah.
And I remember like going back and forth so many times in the like months leading up to breaking up, going back and forth, being like, should I just like I care about her, she's nice, like she wants this, like should I just do it for her and like just commit and whatever, and going so back and forth. And so many people stay on that road, which sounds so awful, like just because it's easier.
Yeah. And also like if you care about someone, it's much harder obviously to like make that decision to walk away from someone. Like
I'm glad we were able to do this, because I feel like I said to you in the group date, as I was going back and editing it, I was like noticing, I was like, every time I wanted to hear what you were gonna say, like someone stepped on you.
Yeah.
Like you were.
I'm not like super aggressive to yell over it. So I was just like, all right, I'll talk later.
But that's good. Like that's like, I wanted to hear from you more.
Yeah.
Probably because of that. And like, I wanted to get to know you more. And I feel like we definitely did in this format, rather than with like 7 people all trying to yell for attention.
Yeah. Definitely went a little beyond the surface of a group date.
Yeah, I would say so. So yeah, this was great. I enjoyed getting to know you more. I'm glad we were able to. I'm glad that there weren't other people here, so we were able to do that, and have fun tonight wherever you're going out, because I know you said you were going out later.
Yeah.
So have fun and enjoy the rest of your weekend.
Thank you. You too.
All right, I'll see you later.
Bye.
Bye.
My one-on-one with Shayna was really nice. I felt like in the group dates, she was someone that I kept like looking to find what she was gonna say. And it's hard to get that in a group setting because of all the different voices and all the different opinions, and which is what they're part of. But that's why I specifically wanted to speak with her on a one-on-one to hear more about her, and I really enjoyed it. I thought it was great. Once again, it's just making the whole process even harder because now I don't know what to do.
We're also making you a little bit more famous.
Yeah, I know, definitely helping.
No, you certainly are. All of you. You certainly are. The Bronchelor episode has more views than any of our other, on YouTube, has more views than any of our other episodes. So.
Jeez,
I keep
probably more
stalking
comments too, because my friend just kept typing away. Comments.
I know, I feel like that's the funniest part, is it's everyone's friends who are just like involved with it. It's like you have some fans who are actually listeners of the podcast, and then everyone else's friends just like gassing them up.
Yeah.
Literally, that's all it was.
I think I want to make them separate weekends, because I feel like that would be weird to have them both the same weekend. Like,
Oh, so weird.
That would be
No,
weird.
I feel like it'd be better. And then you'd be like, here's the final rose. And then,
But
then
then, like, would
also-
you just like hang out with John while like Bronson went out on a date
Right,
with the
or-
other girl? Like,
or
what?
just like hang out in like the hotel where you're staying, like just waiting till your date. Like that's weird, I think.
oh,
Yeah.
true.
Yeah, I feel
So
like
I feel like
it'd
if
be
it's like
great
each
to
dedicated weekend, then it's like I could spend the whole weekend with that person. And, you know, it's the whole.
That's like very coupley. I feel like that's going from 0 to 100.
I know. I'm a little worried about it.
To like weekend in Florida.
It'll be way easier to make a decision though, like with a full weekend. Like I feel like spending a full weekend with anybody, you know whether you like them or not.
Yeah.
Right.
No, but that's going to be another weird thing. It's like, what if one of you like gets here, we like you're at your place, we're like hanging out, and then after 2 hours, it's like, oh, this is not, because that could happen easily.
Oh yeah.
I mean, you hope not. You hope that you like.
So awkward.
Of
Yeah,
course,
it's
you hope
really
not, but that could easily happen.
Right.
Oh God, that's so.
That's happened to me
uncomfy.
before, where you're like talking to someone and whatever, and like it's great, and then you go on like your second date, and you're like, oh, this is not like this did not.
Bronson's just gonna book them an early flight back to wherever they came from. Be like, I can't.
Yeah,
I'll pick you up from the airport. We'll go to lunch right by the airport. If I'm feeling it, great. If I'm not, drive right back to the airport.
That's like the decidal factor, like if you get to stay for the weekend or if you're gonna go home again.
Last week, I feel like the group dates and the one-on-ones were just to get to know each other a little more, but it was like very surface level getting to know. And I feel like now as it's progressing, I want it to get more where it's like we're actually getting to know each other. So, I mean, what are questions that you
What's
do
your
to like ask?
go-to karaoke song? I feel like, are we gonna do fun questions? Or
My
like,
go-to karaoke, no, we should, I mean, we could do any questions. My go-to karaoke song is always Mr. Brightside. That's obvious.
oh,
The remix of Mr. Brightside, though. The remix
Mr.
is fire.
Mr.
Yeah.
Brightside is the ultimate party song. No matter what, if you're at a nightclub, if you're at a bar, if you're at karaoke, whatever, that song will always get the crowd going. So
It's the people going.
it's the people's song.
all right.
Why? What's yours, Julia? You judge me on that. What's yours?
You Shook Me All Night Long by AC/DC.
That's a good one too. That's a good one.
It's a good one.
Okay, I have another good question. Do you believe in ghosts?
I believe in spirits.
I was just gonna say that.
Because we're all
What's the
energy.
difference?
I definitely believe our energy like stays. I feel like
Someone's presence
it's
could
weird
still
shit
be
that's
there.
happened, but not ghosts.
What's the difference between a ghost and a spirit?
I feel like people think that ghosts are these like moving things that are like fucking around with you all the time, you know, like different rooms and like hallways and stuff. But like I feel like spirits are more like signs, you know, and stuff like that.
I think they're real, but I don't think I have any in my house. So
Okay,
What's behind you, Lori?
that'd be terrifying. Paige, how about you?
I think that you can like feel a vibe sometimes where you're like, oh, I don't want to go in there. Like something's like not right. I don't think I've ever had an experience with them.
I personally don't believe in ghosts. I don't believe in anything like supernatural at all. But I am fascinated by it.
I feel like it's kind of sad to think like you die and that's it. Like I feel like I know personally, like your body's in the ground and like that's it. And I feel like it's leads to a happier place to think that like your soul can be felt by other people. I don't know, to think that there's a heaven is nicer to believe that your body's just sitting in a coffin 6 feet under, right? Like
I would absolutely love to believe in an afterlife and like a place that when I died, I went and like hung out with all my loved ones for the rest of eternity. That sounds unbelievable.
but it's not.
I don't think like there's no evidence for me to believe in it. So I can't like it's hard for me to believe in it. But of course I would want to. Like that's way better than the thought of like when it's over, and that's it. Sucks to suck. Like that's not a fun thought, but I'm not gonna I can't live my life personally based on like something I want to think rather than something I like have to think, you know? Do you guys believe in psychics?
no.
Define a psychic, like a tarot card.
Like someone that reads your
all of that.
palms and tells you your future.
That whole world, world, mediums are included in that whole, like, do you believe in that stuff? Like someone who's connected to a spiritual, supernatural thing and that we're not connected
Just Adam Zeroni for me.
Yeah, I don't think I believe in any of that stuff, but I feel like I believe in like the universe, and it's been like a really big thing for me the past couple of months. Or just like weird things would happen. Like there was a day that I kept dropping everything, just like a handful of chocolate chips, and like spilled a whole glass of water.
A handful of chocolate chips? Paige, where are you doing when you have a handful of chocolate chips? I don't think I've ever had a handful of chocolate chips in my life.
You're not a baker.
What?
Yeah, so like
Even if you're baking chocolate chip cookies, you pour the chocolate chips into a thing. I've never had a handful of them.
Oh,
no, you're missing out. I just keep a bag of like semi-sweet chocolate chips in my house, and I'm like, oh, I want chocolate, and then I can just have a handful of chocolate chips.
Okay, I got the context now. Understood.
Yeah, but I just feel like weird stuff happens, and so like I like read into it, and I don't know, you can believe what you want, but I feel like the universe does like weird stuff and like works in your favor, and if you like give out positive energy and like think positively, like good things are gonna come back to you, like karma.
I agree with that. I agree with that sentence, but I think of it in terms of like a logical aspect rather than like a spiritual one. Like I believe if you think positively and you put out positive energy into your day, good things are going to happen to you because you're being positive. Like I don't think it's because it's like there's some power that's like we're going to reward you and like what goes around comes around in terms of like someone is choosing that. I think it's just like, of course my day is going to seem more positive if I'm nice to everyone rather than like me being a dick to everyone. Like people are going to be nice back to me.
In the middle. I'm like somewhere in the middle with those.
Like I don't consider myself atheist because like I don't know anything. And there's no way for me to know. And there's no way for anyone else to know. Like if I don't know something, my default is I don't believe it rather than I believe it. I don't know if that's like a negative trait because then maybe I'm like not a trusting person or whatever, or maybe I'm just cynical in my worldview.
I think you're just more like analytical, I think is what it is.
Yeah.
It's interesting because like to me it's like if you don't know, like you're like, oh, I'd love to believe that there's a heaven and an everlasting life and all of this stuff, but I don't. But like if no one knows and no one actually knows, like to me it's like why risk it if you don't know, like why not take the chance if like it is a possibility.
So logically, like it makes sense that you should believe in God just on the off chance that God exists. Answer to that question, which I thought about, is that if God exists and I don't believe in God and I'm punished for the rest of my life just for that fact, even though I know I'm a good person. So if I'm still judged and like spending the rest of my life in eternal damnation just in the fact that I didn't believe in someone, even though I'm a good person, then I don't want to believe in that person.
Like I feel like I really struggle with religion because I'm trying to be so analytical. If I can't see it or touch it, like I have a really hard time with dealing with it. But it's funny that you mentioned like life purpose and stuff too. Did you guys watch the movie Soul that came out?
Just with the Disney movie, the cartoons?
Yeah, so I was like bawling because I was just like that. It's such a like interesting way to think about life too, is like if there's no like after life, like you're just living your life. And then that, like Lori was saying, that's kind of like maybe you're a bad person or like if you don't have something to believe in. But I'm like, if I'm a good person and I have good morals and I treat people well and my life purpose is just to be a good person and like be a good person in my circle, then like I'm okay with that being my life's purpose.
That's how I live my life. Like I don't think there's any purpose for my life to exist, but then that gives me the freedom to then make it like what I want to make it. Like
exactly. I'm like,
I can find, if I find the meaning in like spending time with my family, like if that's meaningful to me, then that's the meaning of my life. Appreciate you all taking the time to do this. This was fun. I enjoyed it. I'm glad that these are getting smaller. I feel like it's more intimate. We can get, like everyone can have a say, where when it was 7 people, it was like everyone was talking over each other.
Thank you for having us.
All right. Have a great rest of the weekend.
You too.
Bye, guys.
Bye.
Bye.
One-on-ones have been really great and kind of difficult because I find the more I'm getting to know all the different people, the harder it's making the whole thing, obviously. But it's because everyone's so nice that like I'm talking to the one person, I'm like, oh, that person is really great. And then I'm talking to the next person, I'm like, oh, but that person's really great too. And then I'm like, oh, fuck, I'm not gonna know what to do when it comes time to make the hard decisions.
What the heck? Okay, how about now? There. I don't know what happened. That is so strange. My AirPods usually connect right away and it's not this time, so I'm just not gonna use them.
That's all right.
That's complicating it more than it has to be.
Are you gonna participate in the trip?
Planning on to, yes. That's the end of July, I think it was.
Yeah. But I think it'll be really fun. Like I mean, like even some of the girls who I've sent home already, whatever, you know, like
Oh yeah, they're coming.
they've still been talking to me. Like they'll like, some of them are in my Discord, so I'm talking to them there, and it's like, just because I send someone home doesn't mean I don't like them. So I'm excited to be like, have everyone come and meet in person, because this is an experience that we all shared together, regardless of whatever happens. Like this was a thing that we all did together that most people in the country can't relate to. So it's like a fun little thing that we all share.
Yeah, I think it's one thing like doing it over Zoom and then in person it'll just be 10 times better, I think.
We're progressing along.
How exciting. It's so funny. At first I was like, I have no idea what I'm doing or what I'm getting myself into, but going in, pushing myself out of my comfort zone, and it's been, I think, one of the best choices I've made.
That's awesome. Well, I'm glad to hear that. I feel the same way. I was like, I keep thinking to myself, like, why did I even do this? Like, it's so bizarre.
Because I guess it's
like
a lot on your plate too, though, like with work and then the show and then now editing this show and your social life.
It's a lot. My social life has definitely suffered from it, but also like I have a second social life with all you guys.
A new friend circle. Wow, what if there's like a spin-off from this and a Bronchelor edition?
I mean, that would be super fun. I feel like that would be great.
Great. I support.
And we could still do it all virtual. Like we could still do it all through Zoom.
Yeah.
Which is so easy.
So
yeah.
That would totally work.
So maybe we'll do that.
I had that exact same thought, and I was like, wouldn't that be a trip to like for it to spin off?
And we grow out the Bronchelor Nation.
See, it's a win-win. It's a win-win for this.
Yeah, exactly.
Because you're still, I think you're still working. You mentioned you're still working on LA time, right? How's that going?
I finished work 14 minutes ago.
Me too. So.
Yeah.
How does that? Isn't that? Do you have to like schedule your meetings on LA time? I hate this whole like time zone stuff.
I think like my brain thinks in LA time.
I take that as a sign that you just have to come back to LA. It is. It's not a coincidence, you know? It works.
It would definitely be easier for me to go back to LA right now. But I don't want to.
Why? Well, I mean, I probably know why, but like, is it just?
Well, it's just like my life here has been really nice. Like I've been enjoying it.
So lame. But actually, probably, I don't blame you.
I think we were kind of close to each other too. We were probably like 30 minutes away from each other. Yeah,
we're definitely in the same area. Like I know kind of where. You see, I guess the great thing about LA that I will admit is the weather.
That's arguably the best part of LA is the weather.
Yeah, definitely. Because when like I have friends out in like either Colorado or like different states and stuff, and they're always telling me like it's super cold out here and it's like 15 degrees. And I'm like, that's freezing. Like, how are you outside? That is freezing. I have to like anything below maybe like 50 something for me is cold.
Same. We in school growing up, so I went to private school and we had uniforms that we had to wear.
I went to
and like when it would dip below 60 degrees, it was like chaos. The school was like, fuck the uniforms, wear whatever you want. People would come in like winter coats. Girls would come in Ugg boots. It was like a free for all because we couldn't handle when it gets like 58 degrees. So do you like LA?
I like that there's really something to do. I think so. I think my answer would be yes, but other times it's just like so over it.
You definitely don't give me like LA girl vibes at all.
Yeah, no, I don't know. I don't know. It's just, it's cool, but politically it's terrible. Like I don't like the mayor, I don't like the governor, I don't like any of that. So
yeah, those are all awful. And it's like such a cult there that like if you say you don't like the politics there, they'll be like, what are you talking about?
Mm-hmm. It's insane. Like even in my own house, like my sister is super liberal and I'm like not, and neither is my brother. So it's like a constant battle all the time.
What are your parents like politically?
My mom is conservative. My dad, my parents are split up, but my dad is, I don't even know what he would be considered. I don't really talk to him about politics, but my mom is very conservative. I live with my mom, so she's very conservative. She's very religious. So I think she's like kind of those Mexican religious mothers. It's fine.
Are you close with your siblings or not?
I think so now, yeah. I think when before quarantine, we kind of all went like not separate ways, but my sister was off in college. I was off at school. My brother was living here. My mom was working all the time. And now that we all moved back home, I think we're all a lot closer than before. Yeah, we have I have a younger sister, and we have a lot of like similarities, and we do like a lot of the same stuff. And then my brother, I think he feels like the odd one out because it's just at my house, it's like my mom, my brother, and my sister, so like 3 women, and then just him. So I think
that's probably hard.
Odd one out. Super bad to bring up politics with like friends or like dates or whatever, because it kind of like this is how you think or kind of like unpopular.
Yeah.
Like, well, like there's this meme where it's like you're not supposed to bring up politics on a first date, and we're like, no, you are. Like I want to see if you're stupid, and that's like it's so true. Like actually, it makes
But
sense.
I feel like it's even more true now. It's like because I feel like when you're dating someone, that's you need to be on the same page about those.
Yeah.
About political things now. When you didn't used to have to be. You used like 10, 20 years ago, husbands and wives could be like on complete opposite sides of the spectrum, but it was fine. Like it was okay. Now things are so polarized that you have to be aligned in that stuff for it to be successful.
And now there's like no in between with people. It's like either you're one side or you're on the complete other side, and there's no agreements whatsoever.
I know. Yeah, I'm trying to break that. I'm trying to not even be like in the middle. I'm trying to be like, there's no sides.
Yeah, that's
like
too.
there are no sides.
Personally, my opinions would be kind of like unpopular, just because it's more like right, more conservative, whatever. It's just like I have had like the same friends here and there this entire time, and now that I'm posting more about it or being more vocal, like I get people unfollowing me or like DMing me, and it's just like relax, bro. Like we were friends before I came out with all this political stuff. We can still be friends now. Like I don't.
Yeah, just because I think a certain thing that's different doesn't mean that like I'm not a good person. That's so stupid.
Having siblings, you just know you're gonna have people around you all the time, which is why like I love being the middle child because it's like I have my older brother and my younger sister. So
it's great having siblings in the house. Like it's fun because you, like you said, you just always have a built-in friend to do something.
Yeah, like they're stuck with you, so it's like it's given. You're always gonna have friends, and then also
you for life.
Literally, it's like growing up with siblings. I think like builds character. Like I grew up being bullied by like an older brother and then a younger sister, so you grow a thick skin. I swear, because I don't like get easily offended by anything. I don't really like. Not a lot of stuff gets to me as easily because I've probably heard it at home already from like a sibling. Right. So
and it's just like good because you know you have like a team for life for the rest of your life.
I have somebody like to lean on. Do you feel like you have to like take care of your younger brother just because you're the oldest one?
Yeah, and also like they're idiots, so like they need my help.
I feel like that's mean because my guys are idiots in general. Like I don't as responsible or as like independent. I would be more.
I would agree with you. Yeah.
Yeah, so I think it's like leans on me more because my sister's still kind of young. She's 20. I mean, we're the same age. She's 21. But like, if I had to, like, maybe because it's just my own opinion. I don't know. I feel like I'm the way more mature one out of my siblings.
Yeah.
Your mom like raised like a bunch of boys. That must have been tough.
Sure, it was for her. I mean, like not to pat ourselves on the back, but I think we were pretty good kids. Like we were easy and stuff. So like we didn't give her that hard of a time, but she grew up in a house, like she raised a house with 3 boys and my dad, who is a handful when it comes to like being, you know, just, yeah, he's a handful.
Yeah. So, just from the given podcast, I can like see he's very opinionated and very strong.
Yeah, so my mom definitely had her work cut out for her, but she did a good job.
This month or this past couple months, I think
it started like March and now it's May. So I guess like 3-4 more months until we're a year and a half, which is crazy.
How crazy is that? That's insane how fast this year went. It's like,
so fast.
I have no idea. I couldn't, I specifically remember like coming home and just be like, I guess I'm going from home now.
It feels like that was like 4 months ago.
Yeah. It's like in a blink of an eye, we made a bet with my coworkers and I that when we would go back, and we put it on our calendars that we would go back in like 2 months.
Yeah.
And that was like a year ago already. So jokes on us.
Absolutely absurd. It's absurd. But I feel like a lot of good has come out of it. A lot of bad has come out of it. Like people have died, people have lost their jobs, people have lost their things, of course, a lot of horrible things. But I feel like a lot of good has come out of it and like will continue to come out of it. Like I think a lot of change in the world for the better.
What was your good that came out of quarantine?
The podcast, for sure. Me like reevaluating what I want in life, like wanting to make the move back to Florida and like be close to my family and stuff. All of that were like huge decisions that I wouldn't have made without COVID. I broke up with my ex-girlfriend like in the middle of COVID. I probably wouldn't have done that if it wasn't for COVID. So like my life pre-COVID was very different than it is right now, like so different.
I agree.
Crazy.
In a year, how much everything can change.
Right, and then it's like, what's going to change in a year from now? And then 5 years from now, it's like, what?
That's kind of scary. Like we're getting to that age where it's just like you're making decisions now that'll kind of be like the stepping stones of where you're going to be in like 5 years or what you're going to do.
But that's kind of like, I view it as exciting because I'm like, oh man, who knows what's to come? Like anything could happen. So I just got to be along for the ride and see the opportunities where they are and just open the doors, like, or walk through the doors that open and see what happens.
Yeah, you just gotta go with it. You just gotta wing it and then not hope for the best. You gotta work towards what you want. 100.
And just like plan for the best, like just work towards the best. So
Yeah,
like,
I think so.
This was like, I enjoyed getting to know you more and I wanted to do this. Hence why I asked you to do the one-on-one.
I definitely did too. Thank you. Feel better.
Thank you. Thanks.
All right. Bye. Have a good
Bye.
Bye.
My one-on-one with Ruby I thought went really well. Unfortunately, I was sick the week that we filmed that. I'm finally better now, but I was literally having like 101 fever while we were doing the date, which wasn't ideal, but she was like super open and friendly, and so it was fine. You know, I went into it not feeling great, just my own self, not anything about her, just my own self, but I really like was able to open up with her, and she's just a sweet person that I enjoyed the conversation with. Once again, I just am worried about the end of this thing because I don't want to send people home. They're all great, but we'll see. I don't know.
Hey.
Hi.
So I heard that you guys, it's so funny that like my conversation in the last group date then made it into the group chat, and that you were all talking about what I was talking about with the last group date.
Yeah, there's no hiding anything in this group.
No, I guess not. I'm learning that the hard way. I just figured we'd like chat and hang out and talk about whatever. Like, I want to get to know you guys and how you are with your families. It's Mother's Day. Like, are you all, I would assume you're all very close to your families. It seems like you are from what we've talked about, but I just am curious to know more from each of you about that. This feels like an interview now. This is so weird.
Who wants to go first?
What about you, Jenna? What are you like with your family? You guys seem close.
I'm very close with my parents. I'm definitely my dad's favorite kid. I know they say they don't have favorite kids, but like,
I also feel like I'm definitely the favorite of my parents as well.
I'm not surprised.
Even though
I'm definitely not the favorite.
you're not the favorite.
No, absolutely not. My mom will tell me who her favorite is, which is awful. My brother, though, is like the sweetest human being. He wouldn't hurt a fly. Like, he would go and like pick flowers for my mom, like at his age now, and he's like 26. So he's definitely the favorite.
My parents never admit, they go, we love you all equally, and there's no favorites, but they will admit that I'm the best child. So I always get to admit that. I'm like, I'm like, you have to admit, I was your easiest kid. I was the best kid. I like am the best son. Like, I do the most shit for you guys as parents. And they admit that to my brothers. They're like, yes, Bronson is better than you both.
Interesting, because usually the oldest kid is not the favorite. They're like the test child.
Isn't the
Yeah, but also I feel like
family?
the oldest, you also have like a different bond with your parents because you were the first.
Yeah.
I don't know. I'm the last, and I definitely spoiled more than my sisters were. So
Yeah,
Yeah, I
the
think
baby always gets spoiled. Like,
I was definitely spoiled as baby of the family, but I think I also got away with a lot more stuff.
I love being the oldest.
I like being the youngest.
Yeah,
Being the
same.
youngest.
I'm the youngest too. But I have two older brothers. I feel like it's different when you have like older brothers. Like
I'm so jealous,
they
Lindsay.
just beat me up growing up the whole time. I feel like I grew up, I don't know. I'm used to, I have thick skin, that's for sure.
I feel like that's a good thing, growing up with
Yeah.
brothers like that. Like, they kind of prepare you for the real world.
No, for sure. They're not like, they're protective, like I guess, kind of, but like more of so like they made sure that I would be able to take care of myself. Like I don't need their help.
I always wanted an older brother just because I think it's cool. I grew up playing sports and my dad was my coach. So I feel like I kind of took on the son role. So it would have been nice to have like an actual brother. And then he could have had, friends come around. I could have had a good life,
I feel that, Jenna. I relate to Bree because I grew up an only child also. So all the sibling talk, I'm just like, yeah. I mean, I have siblings now, but it's different when you get siblings. Like I got siblings when I was like 18, so I missed all the growing up. But I feel like on that with the playing the guy role with my dad, I was like always having to do like play catch and like things like that.
I was gonna say I had to be the boy and the girl.
You had to be like the boy to your dad. Like, I'm trying to think. I can't think of a way like where my mom would try to make us. Yeah, like I literally can't think of a single thing where my mom was like missing out on a daughter, so she would try to like.
But did she like always make you guys wear like really like good outfits and stuff like that?
Yeah, and she always like when we were kids, she would match us all. We would literally all wear matching outfits until I got like old enough where I was probably 7 or 8, where I finally could be like, no, I don't want to wear this. And then I like cut the cord, and then my brothers were like, yeah, we don't want to match anymore. I'm actually staring at a picture of us right now where we're matching. I'll show you. It's literally right in front of me. There's the three of us all matching.
I think it's cute.
Your dad like Disney? Or just
no,
going to theme parks in general?
He doesn't, because he's growing up in Florida. We went 4 times a year to like Universal, Disney, because we would go for a school trip. We would go with like when I did orchestra in middle school and lower school.
Let's hear about orchestra.
I was in orchestra. I played instruments since from kindergarten through all the way through senior year of high school.
Was the orchestra like nerdy at your high school? Or, like
it wasn't nerdy, but it like wasn't cool. It was just like a thing. It was just like the thing at the school. But the school I went to, I went to like a private school, and it was all about like, it was like very good academics, and it was all about like building character. And so there was no like nerdy or cool things at the school. Like it was just like people did things, and that's what it was. Like there was no even bullying at my school. Like I never really got bullied at school. No one did. It just like wasn't a thing.
It sounds really peaceful as a high school experience.
This might be a little controversial, but I feel like a little bit of bullying is helpful to build character. Like not bullying where it's like, maybe bullying is the wrong word, but like being picked on a little bit, or like feeling like
some trauma.
Yeah, or just like feeling like someone doesn't like you, and like they tell you they don't like you. Like that, I think that's beneficial for kids, especially when you're young.
When you're like that age, you take everything somebody says to heart so much. You care about what everybody thinks. And then you have to learn that there's so many people in the world, and really like what one person's saying about you in the long run doesn't matter. Like going forward, like just learning that like not everybody's opinion is even a thing for you.
Yeah, I just feel like having a little bit of adversity in your life is beneficial, and having a little bit of hardships in your life is beneficial. And I don't really have any of that. Which sounds like so privileged of me to say, like, oh yeah, I wish I like had a harder life. Like my life was so easy. I wish it was harder, but I truly do. Like, I feel like I would be a better person.
Just by like listening to you and your dad talk on your podcast, I think that your dad kind of gives you that, like a little bit of teasing that maybe you didn't get in high school, but I feel like you could get it with him.
That's true. My dad definitely picks on me enough. So that's a good point. Did any of you guys like get bullied in school where it was like a problem?
I did in middle
Oh,
school.
like a big problem? No, but I definitely got bullied.
Last night was crazy. I 4 separate groups of people came up to me to say that they love the podcast.
You guys have started something completely from the ground and built it up. So you have to brag a little bit.
Well, it's really fun when that happens, of course. I mean, it's really fun when someone I don't know comes up and they're like, I love listening to you and whatnot. But I feel like it's not, I feel like I can already feel it like affecting my brain. And I feel like it's not going to be beneficial in the long run, like for my own ego.
You need a bully. For sure.
I need a bully.
He's gonna be the bully soon. Yeah.
Exactly. Like I need everyone in my life who cares about me to bully me for my own benefit.
I got you.
We can all bully you. Don't worry. We can come up.
Bully me. Come on. I need you all. I need you all to insult me right now. I need it. My ego's too high. My confidence is too high.
Well, you look a little bit like you're a 60s porn star in that shirt.
Yes. That's perfect. Oh my God, I so do. Like the gold watch, the hair.
The shirt's
The
unbuttoned,
fact that you have it unbuttoned it too.
This, like,
The
oh,
highlight.
so spot on. That's so funny. Even the
If you
shirt
ever
is so
had a
70s.
guitar and like a video camera.
How do you all feel about hair on men? I'm a very hairy guy, very hairy. Takers.
Doesn't bother me.
As long as it's well kept. I sometimes think like guys that go overboard with like shaving their body, that's a little odd to me, but
As long as it's not
I
like
feel
your
like if you're
back.
yeah.
Not like a
I
carpet.
do shave my back
Or a
regularly.
mammoth.
But if you have like a carpet like coming out of the back of your shirt, then I'm
Why don't you just get laser hair removal on
So
your
I
back?
did. I did. So they told me, they were like, it usually takes like 4 to 6 rounds of it, and then you'll be good. After 6 rounds, it was like there was still so much that they were like, your hair is so coarse and thick, and there's so much of it that we're going to need to do like double. And by the time by the time we were on the 6th round, the thing was turned up so much that it hurt so badly that I was like, it's not worth it. I'm tapping out. I can't do it anymore.
I
You
feel like
probably
if a-
shave like more than all of us combined.
Oh,
Yeah.
I'm sure I do. I'm sure I do.
Do you shave your ass weekly as well?
No, I don't. That would be way too much work. Like that would literally take me, like if I had to shave my back and my ass every week, I would have like less time to do shit that I need to get done. Like I wouldn't get shit done because it would take me that long.
only be doing one
We
podcast.
wouldn't be here today.
Right. Like I would be preoccupied with that right now.
Well, we learned a lot about you in this call today, Bronson.
But I do appreciate the 70s porn star, whatever, bringing my ego down a little bit. Actually, you know what? Fuck that. That made my ego go even
I know, I
higher.
was gonna say, I feel like you liked it more than anything.
I did like it. I loved that. Like that was a great. So if anyone else has any actual insults, send them my way. But you do not have to as well. Very appreciative that you all are taking the time, like weekend after weekend, out of your free time for something that you don't have to do at all. Like the fact that you keep showing up and are all like as sweet as you are and like participating and just like here for whatever the fuck we're doing. Like it really means the world to me. I really appreciate it.
I think it's fun.
Yeah.
So I'm glad that you guys are finding it fun like I am.
No, yeah, it's been a lot of fun. None of us are interested in you though, but
Right. Like you guys are just here
We're
for
all
each other.
just interested in each other now.
Right.
so
No, I've
that's-
learned that. I'm very aware of that at this point. I'm very aware that you guys are all here for each other. You're all here for that group chat. You're all here for that Florida trip that you're planning that I probably won't even be a part of because you guys are just going to plan it without me. And have a great rest of the Sunday.
All right, you too. Feel better, Julia. Feel better.
Thanks,
See
guys.
everyone.
Bye.
Bye.
So at the end of this week, I decided to send Lindsay, Lori, Sophie, and Jenna home. It was not an easy decision, and to be 100% truthful, I don't even know what I am basing the decisions on. There's nothing that anyone like does wrong or something that doesn't work that would cause me to want to choose someone over another. Everyone's really great, and it's just in this weird situation that I'm in, I'm forced to just make decisions. And so I'm really just going on connections and listening to my own self and emotions and just where I want to head. But everyone is so great, and literally like once I've sent certain people home or relieved of their Bronchelor duties is what we've been calling it, I've still been chatting with them. Everyone is planning their trip down to Florida. We have like 10 of the 15 girls are gonna be here in July just for a reunion trip, so that'll be super fun. And yeah, I can't say enough good things about all the people on the show. But now we're getting to the point where we're down to 7. And then from there, I think I would have to narrow it in half to either like 3 or 4, and then it's gonna really start getting hard. I mean, it's hard now. Like I keep saying, every time I speak more with everyone and learn more about them, it just makes things that much harder and makes my decision that much more of a problem, because I don't know where this is gonna go. But that's all negative stuff. The positive, the exciting thing is that there are actual connections that are forming, where when I started this, it was just all like a joke, and I was like, oh, you know, it'll end and then that'll be it. Like, I won't bother like pursuing someone after the show or whatever. But there are connections that are forming where I'm like, this may be worthwhile for me to continue on after this. Like, there are actual genuine feelings and relationships forming with certain people. So that's really crazy, scary and exciting, but you know, we'll have to see where it goes.